Hello everyone, so for today's video I thought that I would do a paint with me, and I'm also gonna talk about exam stress. So I just thought that I would sit and do some art, and I'm also just gonna talk about different things in relation to exam stress. So if you think that would be helpful for you, then I would stick around. I'm gonna swap over to my smaller vlog camera to actually record the painting and talking part of it, just because the camera I'm using right now is way too big and bulky. So, on with the paint with me. Hello everyone, so it's now the next day from when I filmed that intro because I tried to film the video yesterday and it was way too dark in the video and it was like depressing. So this is the painting that I've been working on for like a day or two. Now, doesn't look that good, does it? Okay, so to start off with is how does exam stress affect me? Because I know now more than ever exam stress is something that a lot of us are dealing with. Although we don't have exams because we aren't really sure what's going on, exams are just a stressful thing to even think about. When I had my GCSEs, that was like the last set of proper exams I had because obviously my A-levels I think are cancelled. I mean, I'm not really sure. Obviously, those are the last exams I had, and that was probably one of the most stressful months of my life, which I know sounds really dramatic, but it probably was. So the main thing that happened with me with my GCSEs was I was finding it really difficult to sleep, and that ended up in turn like really affecting my performance because I was just like not getting enough sleep. So don't do that. I also was just like overthinking everything. Like I would literally be sat revising and then I would all of a sudden just think that I was like the worst student in the world, which isn't true. So I don't know why I thought that, but it would just come into my brain. I also would be like a little bit, I wouldn't say I was sad, but I was like moody. My family and friends kind of know when I'm moody or sad with exams because I literally just won't talk. I will sit in silence. Okay, so next up was when was there a time where exam stress affected my day-to-day life? For this, I would say obviously, again, GCSEs. There's just so much stress around GCSEs and A-levels because everybody's in the same boat. So everybody's just kind of like a bit like on edge at all times because everyone's like, oh my God, I'm about to walk into an exam that I've been revising for about 2 months, but I have no idea what it's gonna be. That is such a stressful thing to even think about. Next up, I thought I would include a little story time just to kind of give you guys some relatable content. So I'm going to talk about the time where exam stress kind of impacted me in a negative way. I know I'm talking a lot about GCSEs, but that's honestly because that is the only set of exams I've done because obviously coronavirus. When it got to about the second week of my GCSEs, that was when I kind of hit rock bottom. I had my business exam and it was my first ever business exam. I had 2 exams to do. So the first one, and business was always a subject that I was relatively good at, so it was a subject that I didn't revise as hard as other subjects. Now when I look back on that was stupid of me. I was sat revising, on the day of the exam, revising. I'd only revised for probably 2 days before, so I hadn't really done too much revision for that exam. But I was kind of so stressed that I was just like, I gotta revise. So I was sat in the like revision room that we had, revising, and my friend came in and she said to me, she was like, what are you doing? And I was like, revising for business. We both had the business exam at the same time. And then she looked at what I was revising and she was like, why are you revising that? And I was like, what do you mean why am I revising that? I'm revising that because that's the test. And then she told me that I was actually revising the wrong paper. So I found out roughly 10 minutes before my business exam that I was revising for the paper 2 instead of the paper 1. And I ended up going down 4 grades. That is a lot of grades. Now I'm going to give you some helpful tips, and then also I'm going to tell you like what is not a helpful tip, because I think some people have real stereotypical tips where they're like, do this, do that, and it's like, we know, not helpful at all. First one is to plan your time. Now, during exams, it's very easy to kind of just sit down and be like, okay, I need to revise A, B, C, D, and just sit there and do it. For me, the thing that I used was Google Calendar. I believe Google Calendar's free, and honestly, it was so helpful. During my GCSEs, I used it literally on a daily basis to plan kind of my life. Next up, I would say is to like get your thoughts out, and I know you might be like, what do you mean? Let me show you. Here we have my lovely journal. I know, how fun of me. Although I didn't write in it every day, let me see how many pages I did. I wrote a good 60 pages. Quite proud of myself for that. If you don't have a journal, I really do recommend getting one. I know some people might be like, it's cringe. Why is it cringe? Like, why is it cringe? I would also obviously say painting, as we are doing right now. Painting is something for me that I find very like therapeutic because you can literally just sit there with your thoughts, play some music. If you play music whilst you're painting, art, whatever you're doing, Time will fly by so fast and you will lose track of all your thoughts. I cannot lie to you. I will leave a playlist name somewhere in my Spotify and you can go and listen to some of my art music songs that I listen to when I do my art. I know that it's stereotypical to say and not all the time do I follow it, or not all the time can everyone follow it, but eating well and sleeping well is something that's really important, because if you don't eat well and you don't sleep well, especially during like the GCSEs or A-level exam period time, it will really impact how you perform. Like, I know it sounds so like easy to be like, no it won't, trust me, it will. So I had my first exam on the 14th of May, and so I would set my sleep schedule to the point where like I was going to bed at like 10 every night and waking up at like 7, which is a good 9 hours. I would set that from like April, just so for like a month, I was like ready. You get what I mean? The way to get a good night's sleep is to make sure that you unwind before you go to sleep. So for me personally, I go so over the top when it comes to going to sleep. This Starlight, absolutely brilliant. If I have an investment for you, it's to get one of those. It is the coolest thing I think I've ever seen. So what I do is I'll like have a shower at like 8, get into my pajamas, skincare, music playing quietly. Like, I will just go so extra and over the top. But honestly, that is the way to have a good night's sleep, is to just make sure that like you prepare and like kind of pamper yourself is what I'm trying to say, because why not? Now for a tip that I personally find is not helpful. There's only one, because honestly there is not that many techniques and tips and stuff that people say where they like aren't helpful for anyone. But for me personally, when people just go, just breathe. When people say that to me, I'm like, we know, like, okay. If you do think that breathing techniques will help you, just look them up on YouTube. YouTube is your best friend when it comes to anything related to like studying, stress, sleep, anything like that, just YouTube it. Okay, so next up is what is the best advice that I have for coping with stress? I do not have the biggest brain in the world, so I cannot come up with that much good advice for people. So the thing that I say is just use YouTube. YouTube is probably the best and the biggest platform possible for anything where you want advice, or like anything where you just want to be calmed down. Just YouTube it. Like, there will be a video somewhere for you. All of the common ones are just like, make a revision timetable, which is really helpful. Just use like a calendar app or something and just block your sections off for like revising certain things. Also, taking breaks from your phone and electronics and stuff. I know that's really stereotypical to say, but honestly, sometimes removing yourself and just going outside or something, or just like talking to your family, it does help you out and calm you down quite a lot. And also taking mock tests. I know that mock tests are stressful. I personally find mock tests very stressful, because it's like, that's like a real sort of test situation. Taking mock tests is probably the best and like the only way that you can prepare yourself for the exams, because those past papers are what real people have had to sit. So you know that your exam's going to be based around that sort of level. Finally, what I wanted to talk about is what advice that I would give for you if you are stressed with exams. I know that you yourself will feel stressed and you will think that you're like the only person in the world who feels like that. If you're sat in a room with 30 students, 29 of those students are feeling exactly the same as you. Like, so many people will feel the same way as you, but people just don't want to talk about it, because people don't want to like admit that they're stressed. Please do not stress. I'm saying that because stressing out over exams, it's not worth it in the long run. I know that it's so easy to be like, don't stress, because that won't just remove your stress. But just understand that stressing about exams is a completely normal feeling, and you are not weird to be so stressed about taking an exam. You just need to relax and follow all the tips that I've given you. Does this look good? I can't tell. I need to work into this a lot more, but if I carry on filming, it's literally going to be like a 45-minute long video. I think I'm going to leave this here. I worked on this section here, which I know you probably can't even tell because it literally looks the same. But I'm gonna cut to myself now when I filmed the outro yesterday. But honestly guys, don't stress, you'll be fine. Thank you all so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope that you found it helpful with the stuff that I spoke about with exam stress. I hope that that kind of maybe calmed your nerves a little bit, because honestly, exams are stressful. I'm not going to admit that they're not stressful, but exam stress, you can definitely learn how to like minimize the stress of exams. But I hope that you all have a really good day and a really good week, and I hope that I see you all in my next video. Bye!